What's good, everybody? Welcome into Inside the Green Room with Danny Green. I'm Harrison Sanford. You already know the vibes, and you know what goes down this time of year. It is trading deadline season, which means we talk about Jimmy Butler, which means we will talk about De'Aaron Fox, and much, much more that is going down in the National Basketball Association. But first, Danny, I have a development.
Oh, yeah?
So you remember back when I used to live in LA,
yeah,
and I would get my hair cut, you and Amjad used to make fun of me because I would always ask the barber to try and snip out the gray hairs in my beard. So I remember and you were like, I can't believe you don't just use a tweezer.
That's a wild ask. It was like, yo, can you get these nose hairs real quick? You know what I'm saying? There's a couple gray nose hairs. I'm like, yo, you want the barber to pick out your gray hairs on your stash or in your nose and your ears? Can you get the eyebrows to shape the boy want a facial with the haircut?
I didn't realize it was that crazy of an ass. Honestly, I thought,
when you say it now, it doesn't sound that wild, but I think when you said it, it was different. I think you were like the tweezing of certain parts.
Yeah, I wanted to tweeze out the gray hairs in my beard.
I thought you wanted your eyebrows too. And I'm like, bro,
no,
what are you doing here?
Come on. All right, come on now. I would just ask the barber to take out the gray hairs in my beard. And when I was in LA, shout out to Philly, he would do it.
Yeah, Philly did. Yeah. I did not know this, by the way, because usually it's an extra charge. They got to pick up utensils or tools that they don't use every day. Some of them use tweezers, but not on other people. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
so
extra $5 charge probably. Give me $10, but go ahead.
Now that I'm in New York, I go to this barber that a lot of Knicks and Nets players go to. And I asked the guy, I was like, yo, can you take the gray hairs out of my beard? As he was like shaping up my beard. The look that he gave me was like, are you out of your mind? He's like, are you out of your mind? Like, are you serious right now? He's like, yo, you gotta go home and do that. You gotta go home and do that your own, fam.
Bro, that's like girlfriend activities, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how the barber do like the funny, like when they, you know, like the funny skits that they do, they message you, like that's the extension of picking up a tweezer and getting in your personal space. Like, you know what I'm saying? If they in tweezers, that's like, yo, can you get this pimple real quick? Like, yo, this is what you ask your girl to do. You know what I'm saying? Or you do yourself. The barber looking at you like, what? Are you serious?
Excuse me? Yeah. So now, and recently, I've actually got my own pair of tweezers. I do it myself. And I don't know if it's because I just always want to feel and look young, but there is something really gratifying about pulling out the gray hairs in I don't do many, but when I pull them out, it is like it feels like it's like popping a pimple. Like you're not supposed to.
The one I got one silver.
So good.
Pick it up, be like, oh man, that changed a lot. It's like I'm young again. It's just like when you get a haircut. You're like, oh shit, I feel young. I feel 26 again, not 38. You know what I'm saying? So
whole new man.
Yeah.
Whole new man. Speaking of ages, 35-year-old Jimmy Butler is on the move or trying to be on the move. Let's go down to South Beach, where the newest update is this. Jimmy Butler is suspended again. Definitely this time around because he missed the team. Oh, no, that was last week. Sorry, that was last time around. This time around because Eric Spoelstra,
Hayward Highsmith was starting over.
Let him know that Hayward Highsmith was going to start over him. Jimmy Butler reportedly then walked out of practice. And now the trade doors are open yet again. He could go to Phoenix. He could go to Golden State. It is going to be fascinating to see. And even still, Danny, if I was Pat Riley, my price is my price.
Yes.
And I'm not changing it, even if Jimmy Butler is disgruntled, even if he looks like he's causing a heck over here. I would rather hold still to my price and hold on to him and suspend him for the rest of the season than for me to take pennies on the dollar. He's just too good, too valuable, and honestly, what the Heat got going on with Tyler Hero playing at a high level, with Bam Adebayo, with Nikola Jokic, and with Khalil Ware.
Yeah.
I'm saying to myself, hey, listen, if I'm not trading Jimmy Butler unless we good. We're not winning the championship this year anyway. I'm not trading Jimmy Butler for pennies on the dollar. Because you know what happens? If I just keep him for the rest of the season, his price will go back up during the offseason, especially because he wouldn't have risked any injury because I didn't play him. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man. I'm always, most of the time, 90, 95, 98% of the time, usually on the player side. And I want to see things work out smoothly and go in the best favor for what helps the player. But a big part of me was like, I'm a little happy to see somebody in this league is actually standing on business. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the league I know. You know, I want guys to get their way, but at some point it's like, yo, we got to be professional, fellas. Like, we can't keep whining, complaining, and not playing because we won out. We're not happy where we are. You know, that type of deal. It's like, you can still play, you can still show up for work, and professionally ask for a trade and professionally wait till things are panning out or suiting yourself. When this thing gets to wild drama and things of that nature, it's like, yo, it only makes us look bad. It makes the league look bad. So part of me is like, you know what? I'm shocked, but I'm happy that, you know, this is what I know in San Antonio. Miami's standing on bit, like they're letting know, like, we don't care yet, and we're letting everybody else know, whoever comes here, whoever plays here, you are not safe either. We don't care what you've done for us in the past, what you did wherever you've been, or who you are. We run things here, not you. And we're going to get what we want, and we're going to operate the way we want to operate. So yeah, it's kind of a, you know, back and forth for me, like a bittersweet. Like, so I hate that it's happening to him. I want to see Jimmy do well. I want to see him to get where he wants. But part of me is like, look, man, like, we got to get right as a player. Like, the players got to get into, you know, the right like frame of space to where this doesn't become an issue and a problem, because it only hurts, I feel like, in the long run, the product, and it hurts the players in the long run, because it makes it bad for other guys. I hope Jimmy said, some of the reasons, I don't know what exactly, but Haywood Highsmith started. You come off the bench. I don't know if that's a reason for you to walk out. It could be. I'm sure there's other things along lines entail. I hope Jimmy gets what he wants, but I also hope there's things in return, because they ultimately invested a lot of money into Jimmy. You know, it's not like he's just a guy that they're not paying. They pay a lot of money for these type player, you know, these talented players. So Miami should get what they want in return, somebody that gives them a chance to be in, because Jimmy's a player that keeps them in contention. They will want to want the same thing in return with a player or players or picks.
Well, that's the interesting thing. A couple notes here. Number one, Jimmy Butler so far has lost $4 million due to suspension so far this. A lot of money left on the table. Another thing to be noted as well, I'm not 100% sure, Danny, that Jimmy Butler I'm not 100% sure that the Heat want to get to title contention season with the Jimmy Butler trade, because in the 2026 summer, they have upwards of $80 million available in free agency space. So if whoever they trade for interferes with that, they better be damn good, because that's the year that one Luka Doncic is a free agent. So if I'm Miami, if you're not making me a title team, I don't want any more things on my books.
Get picks, draft picks. Get as many draft picks as you can get. OKC, we got some good pieces right now. You want, you know, really great players for cheap, and the only way to do that is through the draft these days. And then you wait for a superstar to be available. It's a lot easier attraction to come to Miami and play there than it is like a place like Sacramento, which I'm sure we're going to dive into at some point. But it'll be easy for them to get some superstar free agents to come there. But get it through the draft, get a couple players or expiring contracts that are decent players that keeps you in the playoffs maybe. They're in a good space. And instead of, I'm with you on that. My price is my price, and stand on business, stick to that, and get what you want for them. At this point, it's like, all right, we're trying to get them out the door. And then this is when teams kind of rush. And I don't know if you've seen the Pat Bev pod, but slow is pro. You know what I'm saying? And when you rush things, that's when mistakes happen. You know, he's talking about Kawhi and how everything he said was slow as pro. When you rush things, that's when mistakes happen and you do silly things and make silly decisions. So I would not be in a rush. I don't care how much Jimmy's in a rush to leave. If I'm them, I'm taking my time to get what I want when I want it.
I saw a report from Brian Windhorst that said teams have been more aggressive. Miami has opened it back up. And I think the report said that Brian said, another report said that Miami has started to entertain different prices, I guess, for Jimmy Butler. And I would say, don't do it. Jimmy Butler, that you're potentially going to trade away, is not any worse than he was a month ago. He's the same level of talent. So trade him for the talented player that you know that he is at value. Because at the end of the day, if you don't trade him, guess what? Oh, well, if you don't trade him, he is not, I don't know.
He'll opt out, right? You think he'll opt in? I don't know if he'll opt in.
That's the interesting part, Danny. I don't think he's going to opt out because I don't see, I'd have to really go into the numbers, but I don't see too many teams that can offer him the
contract that he wants.
Deal
they can't the extension. I think he misses out on the bird rights and all those things.
Exactly.
And they don't have the caps. They don't have the space to just sign a free agent for that amount of money.
So even if they were to wait till the offseason, they could.
I think he has to opt in regardless.
We'll do a sign and trade. Yeah, I think he has to sign. He has to opt in regardless.
Yeah, so, he has to opt in regardless. Yeah. You still have him until whenever you want to trade him. You have him for that year.
Yeah. And that's that. That's that. And it's interesting because you and I talked when you were in Philadelphia. We talked about Ben Simmons. And I forget what other player we were really discussing at that time because his new CBA was coming up. And you and I were discussing how impactful some of these NBA players' actions could be to the CBA negotiations.
Yeah,
players not showing up.
It might have been Ben, Kyrie at the time during COVID had some issues.
Ben,
He wanted James wanted trades. Kevin, like certain guys, the big names that wanted trades. So it was like Ben, Kyrie, KD, James, even Joel. I mean, Joel's always a name that's out there, but not in trades, but like certain ways of how operations happen. And he's never tried to force his way out, but he's always, pushed the front office to get something done. I'm trying to think of who else's names come about where there was some drama. I mean, Kawhi was kind of the start of it, like the beginning of where it was like guys wanted to get what they wanted to and sat out type of thing. I personally don't have a problem with that. I think you just have to be realistic. Professional. You can be realistic and be professional about it. There's ways to do it. You know what I'm saying?
And Jimmy Butler is just he's not at the age in his career where he should be able to get away with it like he did in Minnesota.
like 3 or 4 years ago. Oh, yeah, like 10 years ago. Yeah.
This is, you're not the same player anymore. So, we'll see how it plays out.
You may be very good, but they know you're not going to be very good for very long. They know that the expiration date is coming soon in their eyes. Now, you might be very good at 37, 38, but they don't believe that. They know that statistically, most professional athletes dwindle very much so when they hit a certain age. So,
real quick, Danny. February 9th, I believe it is. Trade deadline is over. Where is Jimmy Butler?
6th, February 6th, the 6th this year.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll be doing some deadline stuff that day. Jimmy Butler, I think, will be in Miami. He'll be at home, suspended. And because I just don't see it's going to make there's too many moving pieces to keep everybody happy in the trade. Bradley Beal has to waive his trade clause for where he wants to go. And he's okay with Milwaukee right now. You got to involve 2 or 3 other teams to get Jimmy, Bradley there and other pieces and picks. The dynamic of it just seems like a lot. And ultimately, I don't think teams are going to want to give Miami what they want from him. And they're like, you know what? I assume that they're standing on business, not changing their price. So I'm going to think that he's going to be where he is in Miami. Unless Golden State throws in a bunch of picks, Kuminga, and some of the younger pieces, I just don't see it happening.
And if you're Golden State, and if you give up Kuminga to get a 1 year or a 1 year plus some injured years of Jimmy Butler, shame on you. But if that happens, I'm going on a rant. But it didn't happen yet, so there's nothing for me to say. Let's talk about this.
Let's chop.
It would be a tragedy. A tragedy. Now, I guess there is an avenue for maybe a Butler trade to happen, and I'm not a cap wizard. I haven't put this in the ESPN trade machine. I don't know how it could work out, but we do know that there's other traction in the trade market, particularly a younger player in De'Aaron Fox. It has been reported by Shams Charania and some other media outlets that De'Aaron Fox is looking to get out of Sacramento, and he's made his trade request known to the organization. And it is rumored his preferred destination is the San Antonio Spurs. They put the Sacramento Kings in a position now, with De'Aaron Fox being a free agent at the end of next season, where they have an opportunity to capitalize on him and trading him at highest value. There's a trade out there that makes a lot of sense for both sides. De'Aaron Fox to the Sacramento Kings for Stephon Castle, Eldon Johnson, and a subgrouping of first-round picks. The Spurs,
Vassell, Castle. If I'm San Antonio, I'm not letting those guys go. But they weren't going to want those guys in return.
There's absolutely no way Sacramento does the deal if you don't include Castle. It's a non-starter. I need Castle and first-round picks. You can fill it all up with all the other fluff you want, but it has to be Castle.
Yeah,
not Vassell. You don't have to do Vassell. It could just be Castle, Kel Johnson, and first round picks, and the trade works. That's it.
For sure. It does. But if I'm Sacramento, I'm getting as much as I can. You know what I'm saying? Now if they just want to do picks, cool, but I'm getting both those guys if I can. Do you want Devin Vassell when you already have a Malik Monk? Aren't they kind of repetitive players? Malik is your bench guy. DeMar's on his way. DeMar has a couple years left. Like, you want a young guy to be in that space. I don't know what you're doing with Kevin Huerter, but I feel you still got Keegan Murray. Yeah, Keegan's a 4. Vassell's more of a 2-3.
Yeah,
I'm cool with it. Keegan's a 4. DeMar says Malik Monk's a bench guy backing him up. You need that bench spark, and DeMar says a little older, so you don't have him for long. But yes, if I'm San Antonio for sure, I'm trying to make this happen. This makes a lot of sense
100%.
for him.
It's a no-brainer.
I think he grew up playing in the Houston area, so he's from that Texas area, so this makes sense.
De'Aaron Fox.
Go ahead.
De'Aaron Fox, the first pro NBA player to be a guest on the pod.
Was he? Oh wow.
Yeah, bro.
Did not know that was.
I went to Houston to interview him.
Hell yeah, D Fox. I'm talking about. I did not remember that stuff though. That's what's up. Now, he's always showed love, man. He's always had a lot of love and respect.
That's going way back. That's going way back.
Way back, because we're almost 7 years in now, H. This is, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so that's a long time ago. But this is a great spot for him. Him and Wemby, mind you, he wanted to find a place where load management was created in San Antonio. He wanted a place where he didn't have so much usage and so much on his body. They know a great way of, even with Wemby, how to take care of guys' bodies and find pieces to keep them fresh and have a long tenure in career in the NBA. So him and Wemby for the next 5 years is a great outlook. And I think it's a little bit easier to get other players to play with a guy like Wemby, to get some attraction there. So this makes total sense. The other teams that I think that should be really trying to get this guy, everybody keeps saying Denver, Jamal Murray, that type of thing.
That doesn't work.
I think Orlando should get him. I think Denver's a good spot, but I think Orlando's a place that should be fighting for him.
Orlando's offense, it needs some work, that's for sure.
They need a point. They need a real point, like a point guard with Paolo and Franz. You get him. You know what I'm saying? They have point guards that are solid. You got Anthony Black. You got Cole Anthony. Like they're smaller guards though. You get a guy. Jalen Suggs. He can play the 2. You know what I'm saying? Like you have those. He's a defensive guy. You have those 2 guys with in the East. You always have a shot at getting some good places in the East.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. De'Aaron Fox and his representation have a tremendous say in this because he's going to be due to be a free agent sooner than later, and nobody's going to want to trade if he doesn't say I'm going to commit to being there long
with
term.
an extension.
He really holds all. Well, he can't get an extension because he's already signed with the team. There's some he can't. He's not eligible for the Super.
He holds a lot of the cards. Sure. He holds a lot of the cards.
But he holds a lot of the cards.
And if all NBA team, he can get a Supermax. I think he has to get an all NBA.
Nah, he can't get Supermax with the Spurs. You have to sign it with the original team.
Okay.
With that being said, though, or have a certain amount of years with the team that he would be on, which obviously he'd be new to the Spurs. If I'm De'Aaron Fox, this is exactly what I want because number one, Victor Wembanyama is going to be a face, if not the face of the NBA. You automatically just soar in popularity. People will be able to identify De'Aaron Fox a lot better. There's going to be, his ability to all-star teams is going to skyrocket.
His brand is going to be way easier. His brand
is going to go crazy because you're affiliated with Victor Wembanyama, and it's not just for the American fans. Where's Victor Wembanyama from? France. So just like when people used to play with the Houston Rockets, just like when James Harden played with the Houston Rockets,
and the Asian community,
because of Yao Ming influence.
Yao and Jeremy Lin and all those guys. Same thing with Golden State. There's a big Asian community population with the Warriors. Mm-hmm. So yes, this would expand his brand far over the waters for everybody watching.
Expand his brand. It's going to allow him to be more competitive in basketball games in the playoffs, because I'm just going to say it now. I think Domantas Sabonis is a very good NBA player, but he is not an NBA Finals center. I'm sorry. He just doesn't. You go from one of the first.
He's a good for your number 3, I think. I think he's their number 2, right? He's good. Well, he'd be great alongside Wemby. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. He's a power forward.
Yeah, exactly. It's not where he is in the pecking order per se. It is just that you never feel that he can impede any points being scored in the paint.
Yeah, protecting.
And if you're De'Aaron Fox, you gotta be going crazy. You gotta be, listen.
He's a great offensive threat, just defensively.
He's great offensive threat, but you could attack him defensively, and he doesn't add enough offensively to make up for it. Now you go from Sabonis to Wemby, the total opposite. He can protect the rim, and then on top, and this is another reason too, Danny. You're De'Aaron Fox, and you're looking at not just who you are now, but the longevity of your game. You know how much easier offensively life is going to be because your 7'3" center is comfortable and will make 30-foot jump shots. So now he's getting with his speed, he's in the paint going crazy. It's beautiful.
We already know what this looks like, and this is why this is his preferred destination. It wasn't just coming out of thin air. It was like, hey, this is where I want to go. Because everybody else would have guessed Lakers, all the clutch places that you can think of. And they're like, no, we don't have them on the list. We want San Antonio. So he's not a dummy. He knows what's going on. He knows what he needs to do all around. This makes a good sense for his career for the long term. I would be excited for this and for him if it does happen. I just hate to see that Sacramento, first time in 20 years that they built something pretty decent. You know what I'm saying? First time. You fire Mike Brown, you get DeMar, and everything kind of goes left field. Now De'Aaron Fox wins out. It's like, damn, y'all just in the playoffs for the first time in a long time of playoff contention. Y'all were one of those teams that were good, just a year or two ago. I don't know what happened, how fast it turned. So, it sucks for Sacramento, but they can hopefully rebuild from this.
Well, that's the thing. If you're Sacramento, you had that year, and it's one of those things, Dan, where it's like, how much of it was fool's gold? Should they have tried to make the roster even better the year after? I don't think they really did too much. It's interesting because the front office there had the same dilemma that your Lakers did, right? Mm-hmm. Y'all won the title in the bubble. Pelinka and company probably said that was good for this year, but maybe we need to be better for next year. And they screwed it. Obviously, they screwed it all up by doing what they did. But maybe the Sacramento Kings, but the Sacramento Kings did not take that approach, and they still got the same result. Or about to, rather.
I think is there a way to prepare this? I don't know. I think they should try to figure it out. If they can do anything they possibly can to make him happy and comfortable and find other pieces, listen, what can we do to, get somebody here or some things here? But I think his mind is already made up because he's already seen the vision that you're seeing, the picture that you're painting for us and everyone. It's like, man, this will be,
I'm out.
heaven on earth if I can, it's basketball heaven on earth if I can go there. So, but yeah, if I'm Sacramento, I'm trying to find a way. Yeah, we could a lot more money. But yeah, that's a tough one.
It's over.
Moving along.
All right, we don't have too much more time left. A couple of nuggets. Anthony Davis suffered abdominal strain. He'll be back or be reevaluated in a week. I think that's neither here nor there. In my opinion, I think the interesting thing that came from that game, Danny, was the fact that Bronny James was thrown into the game. He was sub off the bench. He did not play well. And it's been causing there was a bit of a dialogue about it today on the internet, particularly because Stephen A. Smith had a rant addressing LeBron James, basically telling him to stop as a father and kind of get away from all of this, the attention with Bronny too much, and Bronny's stats have not been good. I personally think, and I think JJ Redick kind of admitted it after game, I think JJ Redick put him in an incredibly difficult spot.
Yes.
You put it, he flies into the game, the team is on a back-to-back, and he's the first guy off the bench, let alone Cam Reddish is there. Cam Reddish used to be the defensive stopper for the team, so you put him ahead of Cam Reddish for whatever reasons. And now he has to guard Tyrese Maxey? Come on, bro.
I think it's just to watch it. It was a little earlier here, but is that what happened? He went and guarded Tyrese. He's been playing well in the G League. I will say that.
Himself off the bench and had to guard Tyrese Maxey, and he had turnovers. He didn't play good defense. He didn't shoot the ball well either. It was a bad performance.
So
I think JJ could have been a difficult. No, he didn't look like in that game. He didn't look like he belonged. No.
Oh, so that's tough, man. But he's been playing well in the G League, man. I love that. And it's a back-to-back, so you're trying to keep guys fresh, but not the first sub off the bench. But JJ is in a difficult position. So yeah, I don't know, man. That's tough. But AD, he said he's been asking for help. He needs help. He had the strain now. They have a week or so to get this done. Find somebody to give him a center to help him. But hopefully he'll be back soon because this is the weakest part of their schedule that they'll be able to, rack up some wins and stay in the playoff in the top 6. But without him, it's a lot harder to do. When they're playing the Utahs and the Portlands and the Hornets and the Washington Wizards.
They've been balling now. Don't sleep on the Blazers. They've been balling.
And they have, but they're still the weaker part of the schedule. So they have to win games. This is the time you're supposed to be winning. You were in the top 5, the top 6. Now you lose to Philly without Joel and PG. It doesn't without AD, and if he's gone for 2 weeks, it's hard to take advantage of that. But it's always a bad situation for them when it was time for them to take it. Like I said, when it was money time, like this is get money time. Like this happened, so that sucks. But yeah, man, hoping for the best for AD and wishing that he gets back healthy. But that's a big win for the Sixers.
And lastly, be wishing a full recovery for one Jalen Johnson, who's going to be out for the remainder of the season with torn labrum. Danny, I'll admit to you,
he was a hooper. I didn't
know what the dude was so nice. Bruh. I seen him a couple times at the Garden this year. I was like, oh,
nah. I saw last year he had a lot of potential. He was John Collins with the better motor and more. Just the athleticism
and more handle.
Yeah, so I'm like, this is like a John Collins 2.0. So I was like, he's good, and he got that extension, and the fact that he's still balling after the extension, he's not satisfied. Like I'm still hooping, trying to be good and be great. I'm like, this kid's got a motor, and he must really like the game. So I was impressed by him. He is the focal point and the foundation and the franchise player for them, in my eyes. So this is a tough one for Atlanta.
Jalen Johnson, DeAndre Hunter, and Ricochet. If those 3 pan out, if they can mesh well, Hunter, Johnson, and Ricochet,
Atlanta's gonna be solid.
With Trae Young,
Yeah, they just defensively with Dyson Daniels too. Like defensively, they're just active, bro. They're so active and athletic. So
they could,
yeah, man. Tough loss for Atlanta.
Right.
Tough loss for Atlanta. This might keep them out of the playoffs this year because of this. But yeah.
Well, it might keep them out the top 6. It's still
they could be in the top 10. They still be the play-in.
They're gonna be a play-in team. That's for sure. With that being said. Always a pleasure doing this show with you, and always thankful guys for listening. You can listen to us using the Audacy app or any of your favorite podcast apps. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, all that good stuff. We'll be back next week, right before the trading deadline, and maybe we'll have some moves by then. I have a feeling it's going to be a busy one. Until then, Danny, tell them what to do, please.
Read, rate, subscribe, review. You know what to do. Peace.